Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Looseheads Sports Show, the number one sports show on planet Earth, proudly brought to you each and every week by the terrible human that runs Caffeine Gump Australia. Try it or fuck you. What's going on, man? How are you?
I'm flat out. I'm flat stick. I'm 30 years old as
Happy
well.
birthday the other day, by the way.
Thank you. It was a very, you know, I'll mention this week of airing grievances, but I didn't get a single message from my friends till 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Do you know what I think it is? I think Facebook used to be the thing where you'd go for birthdays, I think.
Yeah.
And now, like, I don't even look at it anymore because if you go to the newsfeed on Facebook, it's just ad, some sort of newspaper article, ad, Kiwi sports fans criticizing their own people, ad. Do you know what I mean? So I didn't know. I didn't know until you go, oh, it's my birthday. I'm like, fuck, happy birthday.
Oh, well, I don't like, I don't expect like to get 1,000 messages, but the two people I told the day before, just a reminder, it is my birthday tomorrow. When one of them rang me up like, hey, mate, can you make it to the 10-year school reunion this weekend? And I was like, well, I'd rather be poked in the fucking eye. Also, is there anything you're missing? And he just forgot. So I got fucking awful friends. That's all it made me think.
Look, at least you have some friends. That's a positive.
Huge positive. Talk to me.
There's been a lot going on in the world in the last couple of weeks. And I know that you normally plan some stuff. So did you want to take the lead? The things you haven't come up with anything? Well, that's good. Well,
there's a lot that's happened on the surface. We've missed like our own rugby lives. And then there's been a lot happening in the world of rugby as well as.
Well, let's talk about rugby, and then I got some other things to bring up with you. Talk us through the weekend. Obviously made it through the finals, which was not guaranteed given the state of the competition, really. Well, I think it might have been for you guys, but a number of teams were sort of on the cusp there. How'd you guys go? You optimistic heading into the rest of the year?
Yeah, I got to be honest, I wasn't watching the ladder a hell of a lot. I was just like, whatever happens, like you just got to win 3 games, like in the finals. And like the difference between, I honestly think that there's some lower ranked teams that are significantly better than teams in the top 4. I'm not talking about my team. I just think like there's some teams in the top 4 I'd rather play than teams in the bottom 4, and just based on who comes back and what's going on. So I didn't. The most important thing is to have a bit of, be on a bit of a roll coming in. I think have a bit of confidence coming to the final. So that was the most important thing about winning and beating Para, who are a good team. But yeah, mate, that was it. Really, is just finding a little bit of rhythm. Found a little bit of rhythm, and then sat back for 5 minutes and watched the rest of the games play out. You guys knocking off Gordon, was it?
It was a weird feeling. They had to get a bonus point win to have a chance of going through, and then Norths had to beat East and East not get a bonus point. So the boys had gone out and won, and it was amazing. Everyone on the field, anyone to do with the game, players, touchline runners, all that kind of shit, were over the moon. And Bubba and I are standing, with Margot next to each other, going, we didn't get through because we knew the result of the other game. So it was like amazing win on the bell, but didn't come away with anything from it. So it was a weird feeling. I guess winning.
It's a huge bummer. I mean, it's a good season regardless, but I've been in that spot only once actually, where you sort of got to win the last game and get a result, and it's not a very nice feeling.
It was weird because incredible win. Kicking the goal on the bell to win against Gordon at Gordon, always good. When I say always, I don't think I've done it before, but
yeah,
to not have a result come away with it, it's a bit disappointing. But look, as an outsider going in there and seeing the progress that they've made, they were genuinely disappointed that they didn't go through. And I think, considering they've been a lot of the top teams this year, potentially some of the teams that made it might have been pleased that Hunter didn't qualify. I think. Because if they get it right on the day, they could beat anyone. In my opinion,
bit of a wild card,
definitely.
It's a funny one. I mean, there's teams I'd like to play, and there's teams. Yeah, I don't know, man. It doesn't matter. I mean, I've been in. We came into the final. Oh, by the way, look, as much as like I still am not a fan of the 8-man finals. I think if we came 8th and missed, I'm still not and that's just the way life is. So I would have stuck by that, and that could happen on the weekend. But I just think
if you guys lose, you're out. Hey,
yeah.
So you got to win every game. So it's only if you come first or second.
Yeah.
Or do third and fourth get another crack at it as well?
No, third and fourth get another crack at it. But we came 5th in 2020 and we had a mixed year, but you just got to win 4 games in a row. That's what you got to win. I mean, to get to a grand final, you got to win 3 games. So pick 3 decent teams randomly of the top 6, beat them, and you make a grand final. So, any year, I suppose, particularly now that there's 8, you just you can come 8th. You just got to win 3 games. That's it.
Well, while we're talking about it, let's do a little bit of a preview of the first round of finals. So we've got Saturday at 3:10, North Sydney Oval. Northern Suburbs play the Manly Marlins. Who are you picking in that game if you were a gambling man?
North.
Which of course you're not.
North.
Why? Why do you think North?
I think it's Manly are 6 on the trot, aren't they?
I'm not sure. We beat them.
It's very hard. It's very hard to I think they're on a bit of a slide, and it's hard to get out of that. We were on a slide this year. It took weeks and weeks and weeks. It's mentally very tough with the pressure of going to the finals. Norths are just a well-drilled side. They're there every year. They always go a long way.
I think Norths will win as well. Sydney Uni versus Randwick, Saturday, 3:30 at the Sydney Uni football ground. I struggle to see anyone beating Uni, just quietly, but I'd like to know your opinion.
So do I, but then they go and lose a couple of games this year to lower ranked sides. Look, I think Uni will win.
I'm with you there. I'd be putting my money on Uni. Okay, Eastwood versus East. That is a very interesting game. I think East are on the way up, but I think you guys have so much depth.
Where's that game?
Eric Tweedale Stadium. Can you explain that one to me? Shouldn't it be at Milner?
It's a fucking good question, man. The answer is there's currently a lot of it's been brushed to the side. Fuck it. Rugby's rugby. We've got to play a fucking game. Get over it. But the fact that we are one of the only teams that we've got 1s, 2s, and 3s all playing in a row, and we're playing at Paris home ground. Safe to say, I don't think the rugby side was stoked that happened. So,
is it fair to say that the rumours that the people who run Milner couldn't get ground staff for the day, and that's why that happened?
No, I don't believe so.
Okay, you're very diplomatic. Okay, I'm going to pick East in that one, and I think we should start the hashtag anyone but Eastwood.
Cool.
You'd agree with that, surely. Anyone but Eastwood.
Yeah, do whatever you want.
I hope you guys win, only because you got Wayne Borzak playing for you, and I'm a big fan of that guy.
Yes.
Okay. Pitt Water, that's on Saturday, and then there's a game on Sunday between the Warringah Rats and the Gordon Highlanders at Pittwater Rugby Park, 3:05 Sunday. That's a really tough game to pick. Really tough game to pick. I thought, and this is just me being totally honest, they scored 3 more tries against us on the weekend, and then they pretty much put all their bullets away and didn't fire another shot for the rest of the game. I don't know. I think if their forwards get into the game and they can play for longer than 40 minutes, Gordon are probably going to be tough to beat. But they didn't do that against Hunter. So
it's going to be tight. It's going to be a tight game. They're definitely more scrum driven, but it's not like their maul isn't Sydney Uni. It's still very good, but it's not Sydney Uni. The Rats have got a decent set piece. So look, Rats are hard to beat at home. I think Rats might edge it.
Yeah, I'm going to go roll of the dice. It could go either way. I wouldn't be surprised if the Rats win, but I'm going to pick the Highlanders. Now, obviously, you're going to be very biased and say Eastwood here, but excluding Eastwood, who's favourite to take out the comp at the moment, in your opinion?
Uni.
I think it'll be very hard to beat Uni.
Yeah, they're very, very, very well drilled, and they've perfected the style of over 40 kicks a game.
More,
A zone conversion.
Yeah,
that's all the comp is, and that's why you can literally go to any week, and almost every team that lost had less kicks. So we're living in a realm of kicking, and they've perfected it. So
I agree. I'd be putting my money on Eastwood. We're in talk, not Eastwood, Uni. I have had a few drinks today. I've just discovered Fella. Have you had a Fella before?
Yeah, I've had a Fella. They're very nice. I'm having a non-alcoholic Fella at the moment. Very similar. We're both big soda water guys. Always been.
I just thought, there's a lot going on in the world. I very rarely pay attention to things because I normally get my news through you. That's why we do this podcast. But I've actually seen a bit this week, and it's fucking got me.
Hey, there's some crazy shit going on, sport and non-sport.
I just want to talk about the King Catchpole medal before we get into.
You've come to the right place, then. You've come to the right place to talk about that.
That's on tonight. I'm picking Bubba Coleman for Coach of the Year. I struggled to see anyone else getting it. Taking the Hunter Wildfires from whatever they were the last couple of years to narrowly missing the finals, 9 wins.
I reckon I'll give it to Pelosi?
I think if Parramatta had continued their trajectory, I've only had half a drink. I'm slurring already. Trajectory, he would have got it for sure. But I think they've fallen off a little bit at the back end of the year. I don't think Hunter have.
Well, the English blokes left, and the Ken Catchpole. I mean,
who wins it? What are your thoughts on it in general?
Mate, I couldn't even tell you who's in it, and it's just a fucking stupid award. It's a waste of time.
It used to be the most prestigious award. Number of Wallabies won it. It was definitely the best player in the competition. I had confirmation last week, and I forgot to bring it up. I think it isn't actually voted on by the refs anymore. The coaches vote on it, which I found quite interesting considering some of the people selected. I can't find the article for it. Are any of the Woods boys in the running for it?
Yeah, Ratu and Chris Bell were both in the running. I don't think either of them won. This will be after the awards anyway. I don't think, because I don't even know if they can attend. I don't know if they knew the details of attending. But look, it's just I don't know. I don't know why it's ended this way. But growing up, all the guys who used to win it were the best players in the comp. And in the last decade, it's your captain, your kicker, your 10 or your 7. That's it. That's who gets the points. Because particularly after a loss, coaches fuck it, give it to so and so. Just like whoever's on their head. It's just proven year after year to be stupid.
One of the biggest travesties potentially in world sport for the last couple of years is when the C word ended our season last year. Andrew Tuala was high in the running for catchpole medalist, and that would have been the first front rower ever to take it.
Yeah, I mean, he's a very good player, but it's just, I don't know. It's just proven. I genuinely couldn't give a shit, and I mean that respectfully to the players because they don't elect themselves. But if you're a good player, if you're the best player in the comp, someone will sign you. But the Ken Catchpole is sort of just. I'm sure old dinosaurs out there think it's great to go to and have a schooner, but it's a stupid award.
You ever meet him?
No.
I met him once at a bar in Bathurst. I think it was him.
How'd you?
What do
you mean you think it was him?
From memory, it was him. Funny bloke. Enjoyed a beer.
Yeah, well, yeah. Good luck to everyone who's nominated. Don't worry about all the things I just said. I'm sure it's a great award and you'll hang it on your trophy cabinet. Good on you.
I tell you what, if I fucking won it, you'd know about it.
I would know about it because you're retired and you're 35 and you're not playing, so that'd be very impressive.
Not quite 35.
No, sorry, 37.
What do you think of the Wallabies on the weekend?
I only watched bits and pieces. I thought
you're like me this fucking week. You haven't planned anything. You're not up to date.
I'm in absolute panic mode at the moment. I'm the busiest person who's not busy ever. So all the people in my life think I'm such a peasant. I'm after this little 45-minute patch, I'm going straight to one training, then going to another training. I'll be home at 9 o'clock. I left at 6:30. I'm just smoked at the moment. So I
Okay,
woke up.
I'll hold the team for this one. I thought the Wallabies, mate, the way they came back to win was very, very impressive. Years gone by, they would have lost that Test match. I've only watched the game once, but I'd like to have a really good look at what they're doing attack-wise. I think there's some interesting stuff happening there, and you can see that the attack side of their game's evolving. They're playing very flat, and I think with time, that's going to pay a lot of dividends if they keep going down that track. Obviously, this is coming from an old tight head prop who never touched the ball in his entire career, but it was interesting to watch. Very, very happy for our mates, Jed and Matt Gibbon, Jed Holloway and Matt Gibbon.
That was obviously the story for my week, really. It was more like the Test match just occurring was enough, but just to see they both had their own extremely difficult roads there. Gibbo's probably road has been outshone a little bit by Jed's just because of the way he came back this year. But Gibbo's been grinding for a very, very fucking long time. And it was not an easy, I know it wasn't an easy path for him at all.
I was having this thought because I'm trying to do a quick podcast with them maybe tonight. They got to get back to me. But you know those Disney movies where there's like an inspiring story of resilience and people persisting against all odds and all that kind of shit? It's kind of a bit like that. And I'm sure a lot of the guys have similar stories or varying degrees of stories that are still inspiring in a way. But seeing what Jed's done and the things he's had to overcome and actually knowing a little bit about that and seeing some of the reaction to it and what he's gone through, fucking amazing, mate. It's inspiring is probably not the right word, but that's all I can think of at the moment. Yeah. And then Matty Gibbon, like different story again. I was thinking the Gibbon boys made the most of every opportunity they've ever had in their lives and have made the most of the cards they've been dealt. Both Alex and he. So it's a credit to them. And I was very, very, very happy for them both. Very happy. And I make this argument all the time. Once you know someone's story, you're far more likely to support them.
Yeah.
And I think rugby.
Yeah.
I think it started to do a better job. Like some of the coverage of Jed and Matt this week has been very good, and I'm sure a lot of people have been happy for them. But, I think it was great to see. I'm very happy for them both, seeing where they both come from to where they are now, and it's inspiring, I think.
Yeah, it was you got to. I suppose if you don't know the stories, you got to sit down and read them. But
we're trying to get them on, so hopefully we'll be able to give people a.
Like everyone I spoke to this week only had good things to say about, me and Gibbo and a few teams together when he was a young fella. And so Holloway's in those teams as well, and they're just good guys. And Gibbo sort of has fought away. He's just grinded away until he got where he's got to be. So no one had a bad word to say about him. But I suppose the Test match was sort of overshadowed for the first part by Hoops pulling out late in the week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. I think you go. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, I was just going to say I was going to say controversial pullout, but it wasn't. In my mind, it wasn't. Like I just saw it as like he's done a very logical thing. Perhaps 20's not feeling very logical.
I think I don't think this was his intention, but I think what he's done and the person he is actually going to help a lot of people. And I'm sure he wasn't thinking that at the time, but for anyone that knows anything about rugby, looks at Michael Hooper as one of the toughest players. He's a very stoic individual. And for him to admit, and we don't know the full story of what happened, but you can just gather from what you read through the media, he's gone through a bit of a rough patch. And instead of just hiding and not talking about it, he stood up in front of all his peers and had a conversation about it. And mate, it's awesome. I think he's going to help a lot of people doing what he did. He should be commended. If anyone has the right to have a break, it's him. And I know we were talking during the week. He did a podcast with me. That's the only interaction I've ever had with him. He seems like a very thoughtful, decent human, and I've always been a fan of his. And I'd rather he sits out a couple of weeks, a month, 6 months, a year than for him to go missing permanently, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And look, it's inspiring, and even the toughest amongst us need help sometimes. And yeah, I don't think you could speak any higher of the man.
100%. Like if you had a broken leg, you'd be out of the game, and your mind is, as important as your body, like, if not more, to everyday life. So like he wasn't right. He pulled out. It's just the right thing from all angles. So like it was the right decision for the team. It was the best thing for him as well. So I hope he's in Manly with his family and he's getting some time off and relaxing. But
I don't think people realise how hard being an international sports person is. You think I tried to get, when I talked to him, I was trying to get him to, like, I didn't say this, but I wanted him to sort of explain the life that he's lived. He's grown up as a 22-year-old. He became captain of Australia. He's basically grown up in the spotlight under all sorts of scrutiny, pressure, criticism, and leading a country. And man, I'm 34. I am still not equipped to do that. But he did it at 22. So he's clearly a remarkable human and has lived a pretty fucking crazy life, if you think of it like that. He's just had a kid. He's married now, and those guys are away from home a lot. So I can understand it, man. It's hard.
I mean, he's done back-to-back seasons, but he's really he's been front and center for a decade, getting punished sometimes, getting praised other times, copying flack, and like it's just the right thing. Like if everyone fucking needs help sometimes, and if Michael Hooper fucking needs to just take a little second, everyone should take a little second if they need it.
100%. And I kind of wanted to superset this into a chat about. I am going to give it to Kiwi sports fans because I think they are the worst sports fans on planet Earth. But
firstly, Chubby, for a long time I've just been like, yeah, I know they suck, right? But like
they're awful.
They are truly horrific. They're a lot worse than us. Because I've seen a lot more of it in the last couple of weeks since the All Blacks lose. I haven't been seeking it out, but it's just come and hit me. And it's just, I don't know. If I was an All Black or in the All Blacks ranks, I know you can't be like this, but I'd be like, same as this year. Like, if you're not on board now, you can fuck off. Like, don't come to us when we win the World Cup.
Did you see Offa Tungafasi's Instagram story that he posted about how a lot of keyboard warriors will be going back to it was something like going back to your warehouse jobs while we're out here living the dream. Something like that. Yeah, it was something like that.
That's hectic.
Which I fully obviously like that story. But what I wanted to bring up is Ian Foster. Now, I think coaching's tough in general, right? But coaching your own country would be incredibly tough. And I just hope for his sake that he's got some really good people around him helping him, because otherwise I think his headspace would be, you'd have to be a fucking robot to not be hurting if you were him. He's got everyone in New Zealand going after him. Media, former All Blacks, they're just going all out over him. And I guess I just wanted to have a conversation about coaching and having support. Like, I've had my own troubles this year, as you know, and having someone like you to talk to who is a forwards coach at their own club in a very similar situation has been very beneficial for me. And there's been other people that have helped. But who helps you when you're the head of the All Blacks?
I don't know. I could say the same thing, exactly the same, like we're having rough shots to you about you. And I don't know. But like, I read a fairly decent article. I mean, everyone's written an article on it, but about how basically the time he took over the All Blacks, like, you're taking a ship when they're fucking, they could not be going any faster. Like, they're flying. Like, it was going to be a difficult period no matter what. You had some old legends transitioning out. Like, it was not, but there's no rebuild time. There's no like rotation time for the All Blacks. Like, you fucking expect to win every game and that's it. And I just the expectation is it is so high, and that's what makes them so brilliant. But honestly, I think he's like, Steve Hansen got out at a great time. He knew he fucking knew what he was doing. Like he got out, couldn't have been better. Hands it off to probably the most qualified guy in the country to do it. They could roll it over to Razor, and I'm sure that like he would have that effect of slightly new things. It always helps, right? Like in that setting, like if you've been down in a bit of a slump, like they might play better. He might pick the odd guy different, but over like a 3-year period, I don't think there would have been drastic changes. Like it's slightly different cattle. There's guys away, like other teams are getting better. Like there's been COVID, like it's just been a nightmare. So I feel sorry for him. I don't know who you would talk to. I think he would probably talk to Steve Hansen and like other
Wayne
just
Smiths of this
lords
world.
of the game. Yeah,
because they're I feel like only people that have been in that position can understand what that's like. I don't, for the record, I don't think there's anything wrong with criticizing tactics or performances on field and game plans and all that kind of stuff. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But when it's personal, as it has been with, like, I put something up on Instagram, I think it was, defending him, like, you're just shitting all over a guy that's won a World Cup for you and has been a wonderful contributor to New Zealand rugby. And the fucking vitriol that post generated was like just absurd. And I think, like, mate, I'm just going to be honest. I've copped a heap this year from my friends, from people who, I've copped a heap this year about what I've done and what's happened where I've been. And it was really fucking hard to deal with. So I can only imagine if it was coming from your entire country, what that would be like.
Yeah, definitely. I think I probably, like, things haven't been as dire as it was for you, but it's not a nice feeling. I mean, generally, if people aren't happy, this, like the trolls and that, don't have the nuts to come talk to me. So I don't really hear too much about it, but you do hear things, and it's not nice at all. So, like, it's just a religion down there. Like, it really is. So, fucking, there'd be that many fucking fiery opinions. It'd be a fucking scary time. But, like, Lord knows, if you was walking through the streets, everyone would just want a photo.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
That's the reality.
And if he ends up keeping his job, which, let's face it, he's not going to, and they ended up winning the World Cup, he'd be the fucking god over there, and none of this shit would be remembered. But
exactly.
They're going to lose. Did you watch that game?
Yeah.
All Black Springboks.
I watched it. It was like 1 a.m. I just finished like huddling and stuff. And I was like, my brain was just fried. I was like, is this game in fast forward? Like, it was going so fast. Like, the phase play was so fast.
I thought some of the All Blacks tactics were strange in that game. They were running a lot in the C zone. And against a pack or a team as big as South Africa with the qualities that they have, I wasn't necessarily convinced that was the smartest thing to do.
They got a crap front row. That's it. It's not crap. Like, it's not, crap's the wrong word. I shouldn't use it, but like,
they're playing against the best front row forward pack in the world.
He's not. If you've got the world's best team, he's not the world's best tight end. He wouldn't be in the top 10. He wouldn't be in the top 15.
But see, that's the thing as well. Like, they put Jason Ryan in to help the forwards, and he's been there probably 3 weeks now. 3 weeks, something like that. And the Springboks just, you wouldn't say they destroyed them, but they got as close to as you could get to destroying a team without actually destroying them. Though the All Blacks had some good scrums towards the back end of the game, but even a coach like that, you can't have a huge influence in 3 weeks if the cattle aren't the same. And the Springboks are just, they're fucking very dominant in the forwards. They play a game that suits the people that they have. And they're the best team in the world. They lost to the best team in the world in South Africa. They're going to lose again this week. Then what happens, Jed? What happens in your opinion? What would you do? And another question, what part do the New Zealand Rugby Union and media have to play in this?
I don't know. I don't know enough to say the second part. I mean, the media are just the media. They're always going to be the way they are. I think they'll lose again. I then think they will beat everyone else. I think they'll beat us.
They definitely will, but do you think Foster survives if they lose the next game?
It'd be it'd be crazy for them to sack him mid-tournament.
There's been some crazy shit happening.
Whatever this thing is, like this 4-way fucking tournament, like these, it changes every fucking year. But I think it'd be remiss to sack him. They'd probably make the decision after this weekend that they're going to move him on, and they'll move him on after the tournament.
Well, it's something like a $3 million payout for all the staff that they've moved on. So,
I mean, the Kiwi dollar's worth about fucking 0.1%, but I'll have it.
At least they still have Hobbit Town, you fucks.
I'll have 3 million fucking pesos. Look, I think you probably will get the flick, but I think you'll get another job as well. And I think it's an absolute poison chalice for Scott Robertson.
DC said to me that the best advice he ever got is never take over a team when they're at the top. That's fucking good advice.
He's taken that advice very well, and
it's worked out incredibly well. For
him. I thought if I was Scott Robertson, I wouldn't take it.
No, you wouldn't.
You wouldn't find a caretaker. Find his caretaker.
Look, with all the murmurings behind the scenes from the board, you can only assume that there's some incompetence there. I think that the smartest thing he could do if they sack him is to refuse to take the job.
Yeah, I wouldn't take it. It's just not the right time. He's going to go.
You got a year and a half before the World Cup.
Say I'll take it from January 1, but taking it right now, it's just bad. You're going to start your career with a hobby squad, a couple guys out, two on the trot from 2 losses. I just wouldn't do it.
Are you okay? Your energy's low today. You feeling?
Well, I'm all right, bro. I'm like I said, I'm working hard.
You need to give all this shit up and concentrate on golf.
I like golf.
Podcasting. Give that.
Well, we're talking about very serious things, and I don't have anything but reasoned. I've reasoned responses for these things. They don't make me feel emotions necessarily.
Can we agree that New Zealand sports fans are the most entitled in the world? You're not God's gift to winning. Just turning up doesn't mean you're going to win.
I think they're pretty bad. But I would limit that to rugby as I've seen it. They're pretty bad.
Because they don't go well at any other sport. In fact, they don't have anything else going for them at all.
They're all right at...
They have Hobbiton, which is amazing. I highly recommend you go there.
They're all right at cricket. But they're not great. But they don't have the same...
Gives a fuck about cricket.
I don't. But I thought I'd mention it. I'm just trying to be inclusive.
But this is the thing as well, Jed. How did cricketers get paid so fucking much and they're played in 8 countries and rugby's played all over the fucking world, has far less players than cricket has at the international and the highest level, and they don't get paid as much? What the fuck is that about?
I'll never quite understand. It's the same with soccer. I don't get it.
Soccer's way bigger.
Yeah, I know, but Australian cricketers get paid a bomb.
They're all millionaires.
Well, I suppose they've got their India, which is the equivalent of Japan for us, but it's not even close, really.
Well, there's 1 billion odd people there, isn't there? 2 billion or whatever.
Yeah, there's a couple of people in India. There's a couple hundred. But yeah, I don't know. They need to find a way to monetize it more. I'm not sure what the answer is, because you're playing for not much over here. You're grinding very hard for not a lot of coin. The most physical contact sport in the world, week in, week out. NFL players can say they are, but they are all padded up. Ice hockey players are all padded up. Today, just a reel or whatever from Hard Knocks, and it was the second pick in the draft at Detroit, and his signing bonus was $23 million. So I don't know. You don't really have, mate. He could bomb out tomorrow, do 11 ACLs, never play again. $23 million, just put in the bank and run. I got to ask you about Nancy Pelosi going to Taiwan. Does that shit terrify the fuck out of you? I said this a couple of weeks ago. I was trying to be the next big thing. It's not good. None of this is good. What's happening right now? It's scary. I don't like. They've got a military base in the Solomon Islands. It's horrible. It's bad. It's very bad. It's all bad. What possible benefit could the Speaker of the House have going to Taiwan? And did you see what they said in the media? How I can't remember specifically, but it was something like Nancy Pelosi has every right to visit Taiwan.
China have said on multiple social media platforms that it's time to prepare for war. And then they've gone, we don't recognize Taiwan's right to be a separate country from China or an independent nation. It was something very strange. You'll remember because you look into everything, but
yeah, it's not good. Like I've said it before, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Like that in China, they actively and openly round up and kill their Muslim population in the northwest. Like it's hundreds of thousands of people, and like it's the same party that wiped out millions of people last century, like 50 years ago. It's the equivalent of the National Socialist Party in Germany still running the country, just with a different person. Like it's very scary, but we're all tied into it.
I think I was reading something like 50, I can't remember the exact figure, but it was staggering. Percentage of antibiotics are all made in China. It's like the vast majority of the world's antibiotics are made in China. The vast majority of the world's shipping containers are made in China. So if you inflame China, there's going to be a cost to pay down the track.
There's a lot happening in the background. World power is moving. Meanwhile, like our whole society is just caught up in a 5-year-old having a fucking gender reveal or something, like you sent me today. Like
let's fucking. But
that's what's crazy is like that's what our like Western society is focused on at the moment. That sort of shit. Meanwhile, like there's a superpower moving into the Pacific with a whole bunch of guns and people getting locked up, and we're like, yeah, but let's wait till he can speak and he'll choose his gender, like, or they'll choose their gender. Like, what the fuck? Priorities are backwards, man.
Let's read that. Let's read that. So he made the big announcement with a confetti cannon filled with blue smoke. And a 4-year-old trans boy throws a gender reveal party for himself during Pride Parade. Thoughts?
I don't have any thoughts. I'd like I don't know, man. I'm being
very diplomatic today.
Oh yeah, I know. My thoughts are it's fucking stupid. I mean, it's crazy. It's mad. It's the most insane thing ever. Like, I don't think I could make rational decisions as an 18-year-old, let alone a 4-year-old. At 4 years old, you don't know like how to go to the toilet properly.
I hate to break it to you. You still don't make rational decisions, and I don't as well.
No, but like a decision like you at 4, like you literally like just learned how to go to the toilet, and you're telling me you understand the difference between sex and gender and have identified that you may be one and not the other. Like it's scary, but like this is just all factoring into the concept that maybe you need a license to breed, and that's something that I know I'll be pushing for when I run next year. But like you should need a license to have children because this is what happens. And this child is doomed, and it's because he's got awful parents, and that just keeps going.
Bit of breaking news for you. Back to rugby for a second.
Shoot.
Alan Alatoa has been forced to withdraw from the second test and has flown home for a family bereavement. I haven't got into details about what's happened, but obviously I hope Al's okay, and very sad for his loss on whatever's happened. I hope it's not, obviously bereavement's serious, but I hope it's not.
Yeah, he's a good guy, Alan.
I hope whatever it is, it's okay. Yeah. What do you make it? What do you make of that? Who steps in? Obviously,
Robbo plays, doesn't he? Wouldn't
you'd think so? I think he's injured, so I'm sure what will happen is Taniela Tupou will go into the starting team, and I'm guessing maybe Pani Farmasili might get his test debut finally.
That's really not when you want to be picking someone who hasn't played in a long time. But
I'm sure what'll happen is Slipper will jump across the tight head if Taniela comes off.
Call. Well, I hope Alan's all right. And that was a real change of tone because I was just wrapping up about how parents should need licenses, and we had to move to Alan. But both are sad topics in my mind.
Mate, 4-year-olds should not be able to decide anything. I can barely decide anything. Yeah, and I had this list of things that I wanted to talk to you, and I'm trying to find it.
I've got it if you want.
Yeah, let's bring it up. Because I did do some prep, but as soon as I go on the mic, I just, in the moment.
You said beer tax. What's beer tax?
Oh, the government's going to add further alcohol tax.
Alcohol in this country is so fucking expensive. They got to stop. I don't really give a shit, but because I don't smoke. But if you go to the States, like a pack of cigarettes is like $5, and in Australia it's like $65 or whatever it is now for a deck. Like, come on, man, stop taxing everything we love. Honestly.
Okay, we have seen almost 20 increases in Australia's beer tax over the last decade alone. The new excise rate of 94.41 per litre of pure alcohol, up from 90.78 in February, comes on top of surging costs for freight, glass, cans, and raw materials. That is fucked, Jed.
Oh, is that across the beer industry, or is that from the government?
It's from the government. It's from the government.
Why would the government need to? Anyway, look, it's usually helpful. It's usually used as an offset, but that doesn't work. That's not good, man. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if like advocating. I think having a beer or two is probably a healthy part of life, in whatever respect. So it's becoming so difficult to live. It is. Everything is expensive. It's expensive to drive. It's expensive to have a schooner. Like, it's expensive.
Where's the escape? That's all. I was having this chat with someone during the week, so this is probably getting a little bit out there. But if you look at everything that you spend money on in your life, like you're doing it now, I'm doing it now. Just things to try and help you feel good, really, and you just go in this circle. So you work all day to pay for petrol, housing, coffee, Diet Coke, just all the shit that you really don't need. Like, if you look at what you actually need, it's very little. And then on the weekend, because you've been working all week, you look for something to try and give you some sort of fulfillment, make you feel good. Drugs, sex for you, drugs for you, alcohol for you, all those kind of things. And then because you've spent all your money on the weekend, you've got to keep going around and around again. So how do you step out of that?
I don't know. You go live in the wilderness with all these fucking hippies tying themselves to the Harbour Bridge.
Or you just make more money.
Well, yeah, it's not really on the cards at the moment. Okay, I do buy some lotto tickets, but yeah, they're just like it's cost of living, but it's cost of living happily and normal things that are just they're going through the roof. So yes, you can live without beer, but like most Australians are going to want a beer or two. Like, I'm telling you, the things you love, the prices will just keep going up, particularly with the set of sort of cultural values we have at the moment, where everything's about save the turtles. And like, you know what? I don't like fucking paper straws. They suck. And I don't care if some turtles die. I want a fucking plastic straw.
You're a big turtle killing guy.
I don't care. I just don't fucking care. And I don't believe that it's killing that many of them. But yet now I have paper straws everywhere. Like, that's a microcosm of our society at the moment. Your energy bill, I'm telling you, week by week, will keep rising until it did. I don't know. You just can't pay it. I don't know what we do then.
Well, that's it. What do you do? I can't afford to pay this bill. I want to keep drinking, and it's a choice between the electricity bill or having beers on a Friday.
Well, it'll mean that we have to round up and sit down everyone between 18 and 24 in the country and explain to them how the fucking economy works. And you know what? I'll put my hand up for national service. I'm happy to do that.
It's an interesting one. I keep thinking that the answer is to, like, complaining only gets you so far. It's just
I enjoy complaining very much. So,
well, look, we're going to talk about air grievances. Probably my favorite podcast I've ever listened to ever. Fucking hilarious. Kate is like, "Have you listened to this? This is fucking great." And then I listened to it, and the story about the 5-year-old soccer coach putting his head on you. Oh my god, that's so funny. Air grievances on the Looseheads Sports show page. Very, very, very worth a listen. But yeah, I was thinking, instead of just complaining and being a bitch, just earn more money. Just do something to earn more money. And I know that doesn't sound easy, but there are so many ways to make money nowadays that if you just put your mind to it a little bit, just make more money. Just
like next time one of you, like someone you haven't spoken to in 10 years, messages you on Facebook and says, "Do you want to make money while you sleep with an online business?" Just say yes. And buy that water filter. Buy into that isogenic scheme. Sell protein online, become that guy. Get into a pyramid scheme. As long as you're far away, as long as you're towards the top, you'll make money.
But Look, you're taking the piss, but if you want to earn money, you can. You can do stuff online. You can sell things. You can drive for Uber. There's a bunch of ways that you can earn extra money.
Yeah, I was taking the piss, but if you hustle and work hard enough, you can sort of make whatever you want to a limit. I mean, the most successful people I know are the hardest workers. That's
there's no secrets, but that's what I was thinking. Instead of being a bitch, just earn more money.
Yeah, 100%.
Anything else bothering you? What's going on?
I've got a slight cold. I don't have COVID, which is good.
That only lasts for about 15 weeks, going off my experience.
What did you think of Ricky Stewart spraying Jamin Salmon in prison rugby?
What was the full story? Like, what's the context? Like, what did you actually read the article about what the guy did to him?
They had an interaction like 10 years ago, and it was based around, I believe that Ricky has a disabled daughter, and some comments that were said to his son by Jamin, allegedly.
Okay. Well, if that's true, I think some things are unforgivable. And if he didn't know that she was disabled, then that's probably fair, and the guy should apologize. But if he did know that she was disabled and said bad things, I'd probably never forgive that guy.
Yeah, I agree. So, like, if the bottom line is that those things happen, then I don't really give a shit.
I hate that he got fined for that.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Is like, what
25 grand or something?
Obviously, 35. Obviously, you get fined like in all sports if you come out and you spray like the organisation or you criticise the refereeing too much or like. But like, what should you be able to say? Because it's not like we do post-match press conferences, but and it wouldn't be very common. But every now and again, someone is a dog. So like, well, there was a dog shot put on, or like someone did punch someone in the back of the head. What couldn't you like? At what point is it okay?
But why can't you criticize?
You can't criticize.
What I'm saying, generally speaking, why can't you criticize? Because you don't want to hurt other people's feelings.
No, because most of it is like the leagues, whatever they are, the AFL, NRL, Super. It brings the sort of game into disrepute in a way, I suppose.
I think rugby league bringing anything into repute is good for the game. So if they disrepute the game, that's probably rugby league's fucking brand.
I think you should be able to say some things. I mean, yeah, I don't like the concept of finding like you should really have to go on an absolute hammer to find someone. Like, I don't know.
I think we should all stop being so sensitive. And
what about Paul Gallen? Speaking of prison rugby, he's fighting two people in one night. Like, how out of ideas are the promoters? Like, he's fighting two shit fighters in one night.
Well, look, I'm a big fan of Paul Gallen. Anything that he's putting himself out there to make money, and I appreciate that. So that's what I mean. Paul Gallen is not bitching about his electrical bills of $7 strong arm and cappuccinos. He's fighting two blokes in one night to make more money, and I respect that enormously. But on the flip side of that, the Fox Sports coverage of it is so laughable, ridiculous.
Does the concept not like? Why can't you just find one decent heavyweight, one decent person for him to fight? Fighting two, like Justin Hodges. Anyone listening to this right now could beat Justin Hodges in a fight. Anyone. He's a terrible boxer, a truly awful boxer. And Ben Hannon is not much better, to be honest. He's like a proper amateur. He's had one fight, and wasn't it against Justin Hodges? Like, what are we doing here? What the fuck are we doing? But like, Australia is so short on boxing talent in particular that we've got a 42-year-old ex-NRL guy fighting two like mid-40s guys in one night, and they'll try and sell it. I'm not buying it this time.
Have you bought it previously?
Yeah, I think I bought it I bought one or two. Sometimes I want to see the undercard as well. But yeah, I'm not fucking buying it, mate. Two guys, it's just ridiculous. And they're so shit at boxing. Like, fuck me.
Boxing's a funny sport because, like, if you look over in the States, there's guys like Jake Paul who are just killing it. And over here, like, I think you would say Gallen's probably one of the bigger names in boxing in this country. Probably not globally. You'd have like Kambosos would be up there.
Like the SBW one must have fallen through. I'd love to be on the inside of of the negotiations there and actually know what's happening, like who's actually ducking, like what's happening there. Because I'd like to see that fight.
Why aren't they fight that? I think Sonny would fuck him.
Well, I'll take that bet. I think Gallon would fucking put him.
You reckon?
Put him in,
so you reckon Sonny's just trying to dodge that at the moment?
I've never seen Sonny box particularly well.
Yeah, but hasn't he fought like half decent guys?
He's fought like a half decent guy who's 15 years older than he was when he was half decent. Like
but he's not fighting Justin Hodges and.
No, he probably would though. Like, I don't know. Look, it's both. It's a sad indictment. You're right though. Like, if I was like the inspired unemployed or something like that, I'd just fucking put myself out for a boxing match.
Well, let's fight those fuckers. You and I on the same night.
Well, ever since we tried to fight them, one of them's dating Victoria's Secret model, and they have their own brand of beer. Yeah, I know. It's very frustrating, and I really like them as well. But
actually, that brings up a good topic. You continue your train of thought, and then I'll go off on this tangent.
No, I was just going to say, it's hard to fight them if I like them. But, like, why wouldn't – if that's what's paying the bills, like, some punter, whoever has the biggest social media following in Australia, should just put himself up for a boxing match.
Well, do you think, like you and I are big fans of online content. You know, America has a bunch of podcasters, people that talk online, do all this shit. Who do we have in Australia?
I don't know. Honestly, I think day to day, like things that
Alan Jones.
Like that.
No, but you've got like Tucker Carlson, Joe Rogan, all these online, Dave Portnoy, and they're varying degrees of online personalities depending on what, you know. There's some guys that are out there. There's some right, some left, some center, some are.
Yeah, we don't really have anyone. We don't have anyone.
Is it a cultural thing here that won't allow that, or is there just no one here that's popping off on the internet?
I don't know. I feel like we don't holistically do sport. I feel like we shoot off into our branches. So like the AFL have like the AFL pundits, the NRL have their guys who are quite well known, like Kenty and those guys. And then the union have people like Sonny Bill, who can't speak English well. So like, but we don't have like just sort of people who sit in the middle of sports and just sling it.
But not even just necessarily
like a Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, guys like that, Portnoy, you know,
we don't
McAfee, those kind of independent sort of media guys.
No, we don't have them. It's weird.
Does our population not, like, are we not a big enough population? Like, obviously, a lot of the world looks to America.
We should just be a micro version of the States, right? We should have at least one who's just talking sports nonstop, following everything, betting on everything. No, like, sort of knows it, but we really don't. Like it. Like I said, the more I think about it, I think it just divides into the sports really quite promptly. So obviously your most famous ones will be with the biggest sports. So like AFL and NRL will probably have the most famous like broadcasters, I'd say. But there's no big dogs. There's no like Stephen A. Smiths or like those American just giants who are just out there every day, just like talking about whatever's controversial that minute. They're just talking about it.
But even politics, like there's no Tucker Carlson in Australia.
Not really.
I've seen some people try. There was some guy who used to be on the radio that talks shit online every now and again.
There's Waleed Ali.
Oh, fuck. If that's the best we can do, we're fucked.
Well, no, he's obviously a fucking socialist, but there's Sky News have like a few that they do like each night. I can't remember their names at the moment, but they have a few they do, like who do like an hour. So something similar where they sort of go on like a bit of a rant. Very enjoyable.
I was trying to, because obviously I'd like this to be a big business venture for us one day. It might take a few years, but with your magnetic personality and energy, I think we'll get there eventually.
Hey, I'm doing my best.
Mate, you work 75 hours a week, so it's hard to be up all the time. But what I was going to say is trying to analyze why some of these people pop off and make it big. Have you looked at that? Like, do you have any thoughts of why someone like say Andrew Tate at the moment has just taken over the fucking internet? What is it? Is it because he speaks in a way that is engaging and he says things that people think but are afraid to say? Is that why?
Yeah,
is that why he's popping off? Like, have you ever thought about that and had a deep dive into why these people are sort of cutting through into popular culture?
not super deep, but like all of them evoke emotion. I think that's one thing Australia doesn't do that well is all of our media people, they'll just toe the fence on everything. Like they'll never take a hard stand and be like, that was wrong. This is fucking bullshit. That shouldn't be happening. But these guys, all the famous like internet people, they evoke emotion one way or another. Like you feel something towards Andrew Tate. Some people might not know who he is yet, or like you feel something.
Who doesn't know who he is?
I don't know, our older audience. Like you feel something towards Tucker Carlson. You might hate him, but you still feel something, so you engage with it.
Yeah.
Whereas we just have so many people who sort of just fluff around and they don't really have an opinion on anything. They just sort of say the facts, and if they get too scared to say one way or another.
I think I think, you know how they say the silent majority? I think that there's a lot of people that would agree with guys like Andrew Tate, Dave Portnoy, Tucker Carlson, but are potentially too afraid to say those opinions at the risk of getting, cancelled or ostracized from their society. I think that's got a lot to do with it.
It's socially unacceptable at the moment, like because like the cultural sort of standards is so wiggly at the moment. We're just doing crazy shit where like you get slapped down for having even what you'd call like normal values 10 years ago, like family values, saying that like you have a mum and a dad, you like someone in a room of 10, there'll be 4 people who take offense with any given sentence. So those people become more and more attractive because I think people yearn for just some normality.
I think it's very interesting. I've been watching it more as a study in why some humans are successful, because it's similar to coaches. Like you and I are both aspirational coaches, so naturally you look at other coaches you admire and go, why is that guy going well? Why is that guy not going so well? And just analyzing it. And the whole Andrew Tate thing's been so interesting to me.
Well, I'm not sure that approach works particularly well for coaching. Because I was thinking about coaching the other week, just because someone was talking about just cultural shifts in the Shute Shield, and I was like, what worked in 2015 like doesn't work now, because I was there in
Thank you.
I was there in 2015, and like there was fuck all compared to now. There was fuck all detail. There was fuck all planning. There was 20% of the planning detail that went into these games, but maybe the culture was stronger, right? And so we're just discussing like culture versus detail, and how you need a bit of culture. It's harder with like more players who are sort of coming in and out of teams, but yeah, we're just sort of discussing the values, I suppose, that are most important, because like people who retired a while ago now just do not understand what goes into a game. They don't. So like I always like guys from my like sort of that era, the 2014-15 era, I'm like, you don't get it. Like we don't
100%.
We don't go in with a line out. Like there's fucking 400 different things have gone into this weekend. But they also had a point in that there's like an intangible value to like having a good team culture that you can't quite measure. And I still don't know how to measure it. And it's getting that balance right. Like
I could not agree more with you, and I could not agree more with them.
Yeah, but I asked, because I was talking to Johnny Minetti about it, and I'm like, but Johnny wasn't like, he was a big people person, but like he wasn't forcing me to go to fucking Jared Barry's house and 3 other guys come around every Wednesday for a year. Like he didn't suggest it. We just did it.
Yeah.
So like how people changed, I don't know.
I think in many ways that era was probably the last of the. It went from being amateur to being semi-professional. And I think that around then was when it made the switch. I kind of attribute it to Norths winning the Shute Shield, because all the attention started to come, and then people started to take it seriously, and countries from all over the world were starting to look at the Shute Shield. Culture's massive, but you also have humans that are more transactional in nature, and rather than asking what they can do for the club, it's what can the club do for me. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I just think it's a reflection of the times and COVID, and it's just people today. It's just different. And I agree with you totally. 2015 to 2022 is a light year away in rugby, and it's. But telling that to people, they don't understand it. I think you have to have been in it the whole time to actually see that. Would you agree with that? Because you've got guys that have jumped out and you tell them that, and they go, well, that's just not true.
Yeah, they don't quite get it. I mean, I honestly think that if you miss like 6 months, you're fucked. Like in terms of developments and like game trends and things like that, which is why it's so hard you can't just grab someone who's a decent coach in 2012 and like throw them in. It just doesn't work.
Or 2015?
I'm not getting into any fucking things here, but it just doesn't work because there's been so many, and like Simon Cron coming through changed everything. But it made me think like, well, if there was like something that your players had to know or think of you, like what would it be? You know, would it be that you're well prepared, or like it just made me think that, and whether I was actually giving that out. So like for me, I was like, well, I'd want like the players to know that like, you got a body, I'll fucking bring it to my house, we'll bury it. Like I'll whatever you need, I'll help you. So if that's rugby, then that's rugby. But if that's uni, if that's fucking life, whatever, like I'll sort that out, and like I'll do anything that needs to be done to make sure that we can all play and be happy. Because I don't know, I don't know why that led to one thing led to another, but I suppose it comes back to like core values, and I was like, that would be what I want people to think. So maybe I need to change things or do things so that that's how it ends up. You know what I mean?
I do completely. It's yeah. I think we're very early in our career, so you're not going to get it right first year. I think even 20 years in, you still learn. I think as long as people know you give a fuck, that's probably the biggest thing. For me, like I one of the things I was very big on is if I fucked up, I'd admit it. I would always admit when I was wrong, and I don't think a lot of people do that. I think that's important. You can't we've all had coaches that would refuse to admit that they were wrong, and I think people just see through that. And if you're not sincere, people sense that. And the other thing, I think you got to do things for the right reasons as well. Like you can have your aspirations, you can, have all these things that you want to do, but if you're not doing it for the right reasons, people see through it.
I don't know. I just see like detail has become increasingly more important, and if your detail is poor, your team will be bad, and that's just the reality of now. Things have gotten far more professional, but if the players don't like you, there'll just be a intangible. They don't really like. They're not drawn to you. There'll be they're not playing for each other. There'll just be an intangible value that you can't get. I mean, I remember. I don't know if I should. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but like you want the coaches to have like empathy and like an emotional buy-in as well. I think that's important. Like I remember my grandma passed, so I was very close to my grandma, and I went to training, and I was fucking obviously very down. And one of the coaches was just like, "Oh yeah, mate, they drop off the perch, or something like that." And I was like, "No, that's not how I feel, Like, so like if those things happen to the players, like I'm like, well, I've fucking been there. That was really bad, man. Like, I'm sorry. What do you need? But I think that thing is important. Whatever that is, that little 100%. Element. Because it'll mean the difference between coming when you're sick or not coming, and just that like 5-10% that's in your back of your brain somewhere.
Yeah, I agree totally. It's a weird mix coaching, isn't it? Because you want people to like you, but they can't like you too much because they have to respect you at the same time, and realizing that a lot of people aren't going to like you despite your best efforts. It's hard to get right. I don't know if you ever do get it right.
No, I don't know. I still maintain that as long as the players are happy, like, then you've done something right. And you're always
going to have people not happy because some people would get dropped or not picked, and they don't like this person, and they don't like the way you're doing that. So it's impossible to please everyone.
I know it is, but I think like if you've got the hardest thing is having logical people, logical players, because some young players or some old players, they're just not logical. I think we've spoken about that before, but I think the most important thing to know is exactly where you stand. Like if you're an absolute gun, you need to know it, but you need to know your weaknesses. If you're like a fringe first grader, like you need to sort of know that you are a fringe first grader. Otherwise, everything will be a disappointment. Like you have to be able to assess your own game a little bit, because otherwise, when you go to that meeting, they're like, yeah, well, so and so's getting picked. Like everything will seem unfair if you've got like a poor perception of where you actually sit in reality. Whereas if you've got a reasonable perception, you can sort of make adjustments and also to your own expectations a little bit, Like there's some guys out there still, like I'm sure, who are like 28, 29, not playing that well and like, yeah, well, I'll be in the Wallabies. Like
we're just holding on because I'm that close.
Got to adjust a little bit because otherwise, like all your outcomes every year are going to be disappointing because you've set like an unattainable goal and unrealistic. I think you're going to have realistic goals,
What's the best feeling that you've had as a coach so far? Or what do you think's the best part of it?
I think it's, I don't know, just like subtle acknowledgements of like, fuck, there's a fair bit of work done there. Like whether it's preview, review, or like, you go into a game, you're like, look, this is what they're going to do. Or like, this was what will work, and those things happen. Alternatively, it's seeing guys hopefully soon move on. Like, that's the irony about Shute Shield is that you want, and I said it to the forwards earlier this year, I'm like, some of you are here to play as part of like your legacy to Eastwood. Some of you want a contract. And for the guys who want a contract, I don't fucking want to see you ever again after this year. Like, I hope I get a postcard from France in a year. Like, that's ideal. So I'm hoping the best part, and I know a good part is when like you get feedback that someone's been watched or someone's been scouted for this, for that, and you're like, fuck yeah, that's going to be awesome. In a year's time, he's not going to be here. He's going to be a professional rugby player, and this will all just be a nice memory. Like, I think that's the best part. Is hopefully seeing all these guys go on a journey.
Totally agree.
I
same as you. There's a guy probably started as a third grader and is arguably the best in his position in the competition, and very, very good team is talking to him right now. And that's very cool.
That's it. Yeah.
Far better than anything that's happened to me or any accomplishments. Like, I'm so fucking happy for that person because I got to see how much hard work they put in and they're getting the rewards. So
that's the best part is like, or like see, and it's all relative, like it might be like a guy who starts as a third grader and he ends up as like a fucking absolutely critical first grader. Like you need him to win a game. If you don't have him,
that's this guy.
Yeah. Or like, but that's their ceiling, or like they get to go to and have a rugby holiday like I had in America. Or it might be like someone who was always going to be a decent footballer, but actually ended up as a professional, when odds were all against them. But that's the best part, I think. It has to be the best part. And like the winning's good. Like it certainly makes the week easier, but those are the best parts. Or like just, I don't know, you want people to be fucking happy when they're at training or happy with how much better they got or like, yeah, and eventually going somewhere else. If you don't want to be at Eastwood, like some guys I know like want to be captain of Eastwood and they want to play 200 games because they've done certain things already. And I'm like, that's great. But if you're trying to go somewhere, like I want to get you there. So what have we got to fucking do? Because, this is just a step for you. So what we got to do to get you there? I think that'll be the best part.
What's your biggest learning this year?
I've learned a lot. It's hard to.
It's hard to summarize it.
It's hard to summarize it. Look, some things didn't change drastically from last year. Like the way I prepared, the way you study, it doesn't change. I don't think. It didn't change for me too much, but coaching, like I suppose I had to learn to coach with Ben, who's one of my good friends, but we had to learn to and we, in various parts of our life, had always intersected, but like our learning was getting that adjustment right. like it's his pirate ship, I'm on board. So like it was getting the balance right of what he liked to what he didn't like, and so like I had to get that right, and I'm sure I still haven't quite got it right, but I'd like to think it's decent. You know, I feel that I have a reasonable rapport with the players. It's not too bad because I was one not too long ago, but I'm sure I'm not perfect at managing people. But I see that the most successful coaches, I think, are always at least good people managers. Like you get your guys who are just excellent rugby minds, but at the end of the day, I think, particularly at this level, you've got to be a reasonable people manager. So I think learning wise, moving into the future, I think maybe my core reaction to rugby is detail, but I think culture needs more. I think if and again, it's different because it's a different. I played in a different time and this and that, but I think that almost I could say at university, at any club, there's room for more culture in this sort of semi-professional age. And it's hard because the guys are already committed to 3 nights a week. Like, they need to spend time with their family, but there's room for something like that. So I'd say like a learning for me is that I need to incorporate that more. Yeah, I don't know. It's a tough one, but I think that just in this land of detail and fucking prep and this and that, like knowing your line out, knowing your kickoff setups, knowing your defense shapes, like fuck defense. What was a defense shape 8 years ago? Like now, like you still need to, you still 15, 17 guys who need to get along well, really like each other, and know a lot about each other and spend time with each other. So you'll care about each other. And I think we have that, but I think there's always levels to the game. And I think it could be better. So, moving forward, I think that is something I'll try and incorporate. Should I be coaching next year? I hope I'm coaching next year. I've got no fucking idea, but yeah.
That's good.
What was your takeaway?
Oh man,
I mean, yours is slightly different. Fucking watch from behind for nice coming to your fucking spine.
Yeah, I still don't really want to talk about that. I think if the off field's not, look, doing the Wandering Bear podcast has been one of the best coaching educations I've had. And I still think there's a market for listening to people who have been there and done that. A couple of things really stood out to me is don't be afraid of making mistakes, because I used to be afraid of making mistakes. Now I'm not, because I know I'm going to make them. If the off field isn't aligned with the on field, it's not going to work. That's been a big learning. So if you want to make sure that the people you're working for have the same vision as you, and that's just reality. Pat Lam said that, and it's very fucking true.
I can't speak on that one at the moment. It's a weird one for me because I should, like, it's not in my interest to fucking talk about that sort of thing, but I also have.
Oh, it's not mine either. But
I suppose as an assistant coach, like I haven't had much to do with the front office, and that's. I think it's probably like if your front office and your rugby program are more aligned, I'm sure, like you said, like the outcomes are going to be better.
Yeah, no, like that. I think big part of the reason Sydney Uni's been successful is they've got a whole community and support staff who are all behind Sydney Uni trying to lift them up. They're not going in different directions. It's all going in the same direction. And I'm sure if you're on the inside there, it might look a bit different, as all clubs do, but that's generally what you get, I believe. But then there's been like lots of little things. Like I learned a lot about tactical periodization this year, how to teach through queuing. So a lot of technical coaching things, but probably the biggest thing I'd say is don't be afraid of making mistakes. But it's okay to make mistakes. It's not okay to make the same mistake over and over again. That's been my biggest thing. And I probably haven't dealt with some situations as well as I could have. I don't really like conflict by nature. I'm not someone that seeks it. I don't like it. But I think it's sometimes important to say how you feel, even though I haven't done that. But that's another thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they're all things. They're all fucking. All these things are important. They're fucking important. Actually, I thought about another one while you're talking as well. Is I think you have to know what makes an individual tick. You know, like
100%.
Different people just respond to different stimuluses. Like you have to know if people are. You have to know someone well enough to know if like things are off, things are on, how things are. Like if someone needs a new job, if someone that's what Shute Shield's like. So that's
even
not
how
what
to give them
like.
feedback. Even how to give them feedback.
Yeah, it's there 100%. So like if I looked at someone like myself, I would be like, I'd probably ask what they thought, and then do this or do that. Some people just like it on the nose, just whack.
But even how to give it to them, like guys like Connie Young's a really detail-orientated person, so you could send him a bunch of huddle clips or WhatsApp clips with like full detail about binds and foot positioning and tactics, and he's going to love that. Whereas like Shoppy just like he's as simple as possible. Just tell me what to fucking do. So how to deliver it to different guys, it's also important because
and you have to. It's crucially important, I think, that you know that at all times. So like, because it can be not drastic, but like it can have a big impact if you give two players the exact same feedback in the exact same way. Because one will love it, like some people just, as we said, love it on the nose. You're just like, this was not good. Fucking pick this up now. Be here earlier. And some people like the opposite. It's like, well, what's going on? Like, do we, what's going on? Why are you late? Like, what's happening? Like, do we need to help? Or like, I don't know. It's just like I remember doing personality tests and things like that in Melbourne. I'm not sure they fucking used them because I left there.
They still signed you.
Fucking happy.
It
was too late. Yeah, it said sociopath, and they fucking. I'd already signed the document, so fuck you. But like I can see the value in that, certainly in a professional organisation. Yeah,
we should do a full podcast just on this one day, just like all the things you've learned from coaching, because it's I still feel that I don't know how people do this. Without like, it's again, I don't know. I don't know if I have a job at Eastwood next year. I don't know if I have a job anywhere. I haven't spoken to fucking anyone. So, like, I don't know. Maybe this will be my one and only year. I hope it's not. But, like, I don't know how it's very hard to do long term. Like, I don't know how people, I think if you were working hard at a different job, you would not have enough time to dedicate to this unless you did on sleep. So, like, unless you're very high up in an organization where you can knock off at 3 and fucking do a couple of hours here or there, I don't know how people do it. I truly don't. So I'm like mystified by guys who've done it for 15 years or so, and managed to provide for a family. I don't know how they do it. It's a mystery to me at the moment. No, I'm with you. I'm very fortunate in the job and life that I've fallen into, that I do have the time to do it. And if I wasn't doing what I was doing, I wouldn't have been able to go up to Newcastle this year, which I enjoyed the hell out of. But yeah, it's a fucking tough way to live. I was just saying to one of my mates the other day, this year's been both the best year of my life and the worst year. And that's a real weird way to describe it, but it's fucking true.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. Like I can honestly say I had the worst birthday week fucking of my life. Like last week, like it was terrible. After we went down to Randwick, it was just not a good. It was a very hard week. Well, actually, no, I need to shout out. I'm very lucky. What you do need is a fucking good support network, and I'm lucky that my parents, my mum fucking put up with my dad playing, and then they had children, and I played for fucking 20 years, and then I retired for 1 year and decided, I'm going to go back and do the exact same fucking thing, but be on the other side of the whistle. So very lucky.
Way more stressful, way more time consuming.
But I'm very
probably
lucky.
Worse on your body as well.
I have my parents and my uncle is employing me, but because I don't know what I'd do if I didn't have those people. And they certainly, shout out to my mum, who did make my birthday very, very good. But other than that, yes, you can have. It's very, very. It's ups and downs, ups and downs.
A lot of fun though. I love it. I love it. Seeing young fellas who work their ass off and end up ticking some goals is fucking very rewarding.
Absolutely. But as I said, like, are you at a place to disclose whether you'll be coaching next year somewhere?
I'll be coaching, just not where. I can't. It's to be determined where, but there'll be somewhere. I'll just say.
Yeah. That. Well, I mean, the next month or so, I suppose, is going to be
some things happening, but there'll be something happening.
Yeah, I truly don't know. I was sort of hoping that things would be a little bit clearer at this point, but I got no fucking idea. I hope I am. But if I'm not, then I need to fucking buy a new suit. I don't know.
Or buy
a hammer.
Mate, if you're doing all your review on Saturday night, you could get a real job.
How do I get to training at 5?
Well, you might just have to start earlier, and that's true. If you're in a law office, you don't get out of there till Saturday night.
I've thought about it. I've thought about it. Some thinking goes into it. When you go to an interview and you're like, yeah, but I got to knock off 4:30 on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and I can't work overtime ever.
When does the Shute Shield go to 4 nights a week training? I can see that happening.
Good question, man.
I could see that happening
when the money goes up.
Yeah,
it's direct correlation because I reckon every club would be different. In this respect, and we try to give the guys a night off every month, like not on an easier week, but like where they've had particularly hard loading. Or this year was fucking easy because it rained every single day, so like they get their odd Monday off. But you know, most guys in the comp are making $300 a week or $400 a week. There's some guys making more.
They play for Eastwood, those guys.
No, they fucking don't. Certainly not the coaches. But when it gets to sort of, you know, $8, $9, $1,000 a week for like the standard guy, then you can ask for 4 nights a week, and there's no late to training, and like that's when you sort of click over into that sort of -10 sort of thing. I don't know what happens to get there though. Like I don't know what has to happen.
That'll happen. That'll happen eventually.
Yeah, before we're growing old or what?
We're already getting there. Anything else bothering you? We haven't brought up Cowra playing major or minor semi-final. It'd be major. They always win. So it's major semi-final in Orange this week.
Yeah, I'm still going to get out there. They're fucking doing some damage.
I
got my Cowra's better than Sydney hoodie, which was nice. I'm not wearing it at the moment because I'm sunburned as shit. But yeah, they'll fucking do the job. I actually was looking at the Cockatoo squad, and I was very disappointed by the lack of representatives from the Cowra region. Only one, and I thought, tell you what, you guys get back to me on this one. But it looks like there's a lot of Central Coast players. Is there a bit of bias in the selections there? Can someone from Cowra reach out?
Grippy,
but like
Grippy, I know you're listening.
A lot of Central Coast players, and I thought, gee, I'd like to see the bloody, you know, Avoca Sharks head out to Cowra and try and do their job out there, because I think they'll get a rude awakening by the Eagles.
Also, just on that, good to see 54-year-old, great city, by the way, Cowra, just for anyone wondering. Absolutely fantastic. Good. Just on the Cockatoo squad, great to see 55-year-old flanker Paulie Tuala still running around. That guy's a fucking legend.
Yeah, he's the nicest person in the world. I met him first on that tour, which we've never spoken about, that Barbas tour, but that was the first time I'd met him properly. And he was friends with some people I knew, like the Jared Brays of the world from when he's up in Gordon. And I was like, well, this guy's really nice. And he doesn't look, tell you what, I was only 25 at the time, 24, and he looked younger than me, and he still looks younger than me now. So
handsome guy.
He should play until Tom Brady retires at least. 45.
Very handsome guy.
Very handsome.
Thinking, James Slipper is the Tom Brady of Australian rugby. Boom.
Why?
Keeps going. That guy's my age, and he's still going. Remarkable. He's got to be one of our greatest ever. Loosehead prop.
Mate,
needs to get his nose fixed. Needs to get his nose fixed. Sorry.
He'll be right. He's a good sort. We all need to get something fixed. I need a quick nip tuck. I mean, I'm sure you've been running since the last time we spoke. I've been running.
I haven't. I've been lifting though.
I've been lifting heaps of tin, and I've got to play these fucking 3 games in September, and I'm just in pieces. I'm in pieces. Like I'm in so much pain. Like I got a couple of slip discs, but I just can't do it. Like I fell asleep if I fall asleep on the lounge, mate, you might as well wheel in a wheelchair. I'm fucking done for the week.
I had back pain for 15 years. And then when I stopped playing, no more back pain.
Really?
Yeah. You think it might have been scrums or hanging around with bats every week?
I mean, carrying the side, mate. Yeah, or I will say, yeah. So I'll get another episode of Air Your Grievances up. Last week was.
Hold on. Let's talk about that show. That is my new favorite fucking podcast. I'm thinking of just creating a separate Air Your Grievances podcast on the Wandering Bear Sports Network because fuck, it's funny. And you get some fucking great people calling in or you calling them. Explain what it is first and then we'll promote it a little bit.
I've put 2 episodes out. It's basically, I just call people in my phone. Basically, and the grand end plan is for me to just have a burner and people can call me at any time. Look, will heaps of people call me and tell me I'm a piece of shit? Probably, but I'll tell them they're a piece of shit. And then also, I'm not going to put them all in, but I'll just call people up and ask them what's bothering them, or I might put something to them if I know that it'll bother them. It varies. Like some people talk about rugby, some people talk about like fucking China, some people talk about things that have to be beat out. And it's kind of fun. So it's certainly too. It's an easier one because you can I can just lie on my lounge and fucking call someone and be like, "You're on." And it's very funny. I think there's probably something to it as well. There's something to the burner idea. I'll just go right. Call me between 4 and 5 on a bloody Tuesday, and anyone can call in and just crap on about anything they want. But if I didn't learn how to edit, we would not be having this conversation, right? We'd be in some sort of prison.
I think it's hilarious. My favorite one was where you told the guy that the Wallabies were going to take a knee.
Yeah, that was very good. Well, I knew it was going to get him based on the week before when I had to just beep out everything he said. I cut out full, and he put his name, he put his work and where he lived in there, and I just beeped it all out. I'm like, I did ring one person, and then after about the 3rd person I rang, I just had messages from the first 3 people going, "Oh, actually, take me down, take me down, take me down." And I was like, "Well, it's all right. I'll cut everything out." But it's fucking funny. So I've got a few. I've done a few already this week, and I'm hoping that I'll do a few more tonight.
Well, can you please? I want to be on that show whenever you get around to it. I got a few.
Would you like me to call you?
I would like to be on Air Your Grievances. It's my favorite show. So.
It's anonymous.
Well, that's fine. I don't care if people know it's me.
I actually need to get.
Can you change voices? Can you change voices?
Yeah, I actually can. That's the craziest thing. I can do robot voice.
What are you programming it? What are you doing it on?
I can't remember what it's called. Yeah, I've got it here somewhere. But it was just learned by like monkey learning how to fucking edit. Because I knew I couldn't put it out without it. And it's been very funny. I'd like a few of the boys from the bush to put their grievances in because I feel like
Tommy's funny. I'll get Tommy your number.
Yeah, please do, because I feel like a few of my mates who are like bitching about getting a fucking, weak soy latte. They'll get put in perspective by the fact that the hay baler's fucking busted, or the cop in town's been pepper spraying people. Real problems. Not fucking.
My almond latte is fucking $7.
Yeah, 100%. Well, I've this has actually not been an episode of me blowing up particularly, but
it ended up good. I think ended up good. A bit of a slow start. We warmed into it a little bit, but
I can't just. Yeah, the thing is, you can't just yell about things if you don't want. Like if they're not yelling things. Some of the things we discussed were very important, but there'll be times for yelling.
So should we? Do you have anything that you want to? Anything that's bothering you particularly this week? Any inspirational messages for people? I've worked out what we need to do as a strategy. Is we need to cut this podcast up into 5 or 6 clips and put it out on all social media channels, YouTube Shorts, YouTube, fucking TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. We got to be better at that. And that's probably me. I got a computer again now, so I can do a little bit more of that. But sorry, I just went off on another tangent. What's bothering you this week? What inspirational messages do you have for our loyal audience?
To the audience, I say stand by and stand ready. Do you know who that's from or not? No, it's all right. It's what Trump said. He got in trouble.
For war, like talking about war?
No, when they tried to say that he wanted people to raid the Capitol building, he said, stand by, stand ready. So
I saw a really good thing that Trump put out the other day. I'll send it to you. It's about how people quit too early and they would have been successful if they didn't quit. It was quite good.
Yeah, look, all you need, right, is just a can-do attitude and a couple of billion, and you can turn that into at least an extra 2 billion. So, no, look, I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. I'd say keep your phone on you, everyone. If you'd like to be called, then just DM the program, and I'll try and call you up.
All right. Are you going to be having Silly Sunday this week, you reckon?
No. Mate, at the conclusion of this season, whenever it may be, hopefully in a month, I think there's a good chance I just go to bed. And then
sleep.
They're like, week. Where's Jed? He's been away for 14 days and I'm just hibernating. He's shut down. He's in his room. There's moss growing on his head.
The last couple of years have been fucking wild. Can you believe that they shut the world down for 2 years?
Yeah. Well, I'm reading books. I read books, everyone. I read books. So fuck you.
Recommend any?
No, I like crime thrillers, things.
Oh, okay.
But I'm over biographies. I don't want to hear about. I want to hear fantasy fucking shit. But I'm reading books where they're talking about COVID as if it like was an event that happened, and I'm like, I swear we're just doing it now. But like they're like, it's part of the storyline. It's been 2 years. It's 2 years. I'm not getting back. You know what? I'd like those 2 years back. Okay. I would like the government to officially take 2 years back off the clock, and we all just go 2 years younger because we got nothing from the 2 years.
2 years, unbelievable rain. Bunch of people got sick for a week. Coffee $7. Barley's expensive. Anyway, that's probably enough for this podcast.
Yeah, sweet.
I had a great time. We're going to put this out tomorrow. Please like, subscribe, share, tell a friend, be a friend, and as always, please send Jed nudes. And if you do not chew caffeine gum, fuck you.
Fuck you, everyone.